must have been about 5 when I ended up at Pelican Residential School. And I was there until about grade 6. I was there. And from what I understand now, our parents were told that if they didn't let us go, that we would get taken away for good. And that I think it must have thrown a lot of fear into them. And I just can't, I can't even talk about it.
Maybe I can ask you about getting there at 5. Did you have any idea what you were going to? Did anybody warn you? Did you understand, or did you just know you were going away?
I'm just kind of surprised. I guess I like to think you've dealt with issues, but I think after seeing Carol this morning, I just I don't know if I can talk about it. I think what I remember most is crying myself to sleep every night, and that what it was is loneliness. You want to be at home where it was safe, where your parents were there, and you knew that they loved you. You knew that. I knew that as a child, that I was important to my parents, and it was a real struggle for me to admit my anger towards them. That I guess prior to my finding out what they were told, just what Carol said this morning was, how could you let me go? I remember during my counseling, that's what, in my visualization exercise, that's what I ended up when I was facing my parents in my visualization. That's what I told them. How could you have let me go? And that, because I was so little, and that, and then I see their, and I guess I start to understand the more that I educate myself, that they were powerless in a lot of ways, that they didn't know what was going on a lot of times. And I don't know if anything was ever explained to them. I don't think that it was ever explained to them why their children were being taken away. Like that, I really believe that. Why or how or what happened to them while they were gone. And how I talk about it when I do parenting sessions is, if you can imagine, there was 7 of us, right 2 years apart, and we were all gone away 10 months of the year, 2 weeks at Christmas, and you've been alone all this time. All of a sudden you have 8 kids who have had no freedom all this time, and they come back to you, and they're just wild because we haven't had any freedom all this time. And I think that it must have been just as disruptive for them. I remember my dad talking about how lonely he was a lot of time when he didn't, especially after my mom died, that he, how much time he had to spend alone. It was really hard to hear him talk like that. He only talked like that when he was drunk. He never talked like that when he was sober. He never felt sorry for himself. Just when he had had a few beers or something, and then he would talk about the pain of seeing his children leave and come back different. But I think that how could anyone, that question keeps coming up again and again, how could people have thought that was the proper thing to do, was to take children away from their parents like that? And why I didn't realize it at the time, but when my children were school age, when they were 5, they didn't go to school. I homeschooled my older 2 children. My daughter was 10 when she entered grade 5, and my son was 8 when she entered grade 4. And when I think about it now, I think it was a direct reaction to, nobody's going to tell me they're going to take my children. I say when they can go to school, and I think it was to their benefit. When we were always coming back and forth from home, from boarding school to home, and us being like, we must have been, the word I can only describe it is as we must have been crazy the way we behaved, and with so much freedom, and there was nobody could discipline us. And at that time, I understand now that my mom was not well, that she was really sick a lot of the time, struggling with TB. And I remember her, she really yelled a lot. Like she was a disciplinarian in my family, but where my dad wasn't. And I think that that's what happened with myself, because I remember going through my and when I started my healing journey, I felt like I had to, because I was experiencing panic attacks by having kept all that emotion stuffed inside me for so long, that that's how I found out. And I was like that for 7 years. I was basically housebound for 7 years. And with me, it was as a result of that wall, that big thick wall that I had built up around my emotions, and where I was literally, I didn't feel anything. I didn't have to feel anything. So, and also I couldn't reach out and like to my own, like the people who were close to me, I would just shut them out if there was any kind of conflict, and I think as a result of the kinds of conflicts that I watched my parents go through, that was how they did things. And the only time that any kind of extreme emotion was shown was under the influence of alcohol. And it was very, I guess, devastating to watch that, literally, to watch my parents physically fighting like they did. Anyway, that yelling story, that one afternoon several years ago, when I think I had started this job at this time, and I heard as I was resting in the afternoon, I was taking a power nap, and I heard somebody yelling, and I said, that sounds like me. I said, that yelling sounds like me. And then here it was Lonnie yelling at my oldest daughter, yelling at her 2 little sisters. And I was thinking, where did she learn how to yell like that? And so she, I guess I must have drifted away, and that's when the memories of my mom yelling at us, they really surfaced, and just various images of my mom yelling and being really angry with us and trying to get us to do things. And I think with all 7 of us, it was too we couldn't. Probably because we didn't listen to her, eh? And so that's where I became aware. That's how I am at home. Is that I was yelling at them. So now that I know that, I make a conscious effort not to do that. When I feel like I'm going to yell, then I'll do something about that, But every once in a while it happens anyway, but not like it used to happen. So I think that was a direct effect of us going away, is that she didn't know how to take care of her children. She didn't know how to, aside from being sick, she didn't know how to do that. Whereas my father, he has always been the one to show kindness, and he was very. That's how we knew we disappointed him, was that he just had to look at us. Eh? So that's how the kind of parenting that they provided for us. Like it. Usually the father's a disciplinarian, but in my case, it was our mom.